Parents and students, if you're listening, this is going to be the second outreach video. And as some of you know from the first video, one of my goals this year as an educator is to do a little bit more outreach to parents and to people who are interested in sort of the behind the scenes story behind the lessons going on in the classroom. I would just like to recap very briefly. Last week on Friday, we did our pig personality activity. And this was an activity that was mostly designed as an icebreaker and just asked students to draw a pig. These are some examples from the classroom. And then they used that pig as a springboard or a stepping off point to do a bit of analysis. And by analysis, what I mean is that even though all we see is a pig, each particular attribute, sorry students if you're listening, that means each particular part of the pig had a particular meaning. So students got these sheets and then they went through and made some deductions about the person who had drawn the pig they got. Then they got a chance to respond to their own pig personality profile. Either they agreed with it or they disagreed with it, however they liked. I would also like to throw out a couple of quick reminders that there is a syllabus out there. Many students have already returned it. And if your son or daughter has to be for fourth period, there are about 6 or 7 different things that came home in the manila envelope that also need to be returned. Okay, so let's take a look at this week. Just as a reminder, I am going to be posting these board notes every day. And these are the ones from Monday. Sorry about the quality, but you can see that today we are setting up our class journals. And we are going to be talking a little bit about student goals. We're going to talk about those a bit more. I think I'll do a different video on those. And then student brown bag presentations began today. That was their homework if they had not completed it. Also, please note that we have a library trip coming up tomorrow on Tuesday. This is a very important part of what we do here. Reading is, for me, probably the most important activity that a student at this developmental level participates in. Independent, self-chosen reading, TV's off, the radio's off, the cell phone is locked in a cabinet somewhere, and you read a book. Now, it's not lost on me. Sometimes that's the toughest battle to fight, but it's also the most worthwhile one because that's where the most growth is going to come from. And we structure quite a bit of class around reading and reading goals. So, if you remember from last year, students did have AR goals in 6th grade. That goes away in 7th grade. So we're shifting a little bit more to this contractual model. And once students go to the library tomorrow, and Mrs. Bachman does the name game with them, they are going to see me either Wednesday or Thursday of next week and fill out one of these contracts. And what this asks you to do, and it's still a work in progress, I update them every year, but what it asks you to do is think a little bit about yourself as a reader, and you are signing, acknowledging that you are assigned 30 minutes of reading. That's really all you're doing on the contract, Obviously, students are going to do it. Some students are not going to do it, but I do require them to be aware that it's assigned. It's not optional. 30 minutes of assigned reading. We're going to set up, between myself and the student, a number of pages that may be different for everybody, but a number of pages to try to finish during that 30 minutes, and then do a little math and figure out when they should be able to complete their current book. Now, the reading part is the most important part, but it's also the hardest to assess. So I use this as sort of a benchmark to help students both evaluate their own performance and also give us something to talk about if we get, say, 6 weeks into the school year, they haven't read 2 pages of their book, then we're going to come back to this document. Also, at least once a week, here early on, students will meet in a reading group that revolves around their independent reading. So if they haven't been doing it, it could be, it could be a bit of an issue when they are getting into groups and whatnot. And in terms of their grade, they might get this non-participation report. Okay, let's see. Also, some new things to think about. We do know that coming up next Thursday, as in not Thursday of this week, but Thursday of next week, August the 23rd, students will be having their English MAP testing. I think I'll post this on the classroom if you're interested to learn more about this. But essentially, MAP testing is it's an algorithmic style test in which students are, they progress along a skill tree. I don't know how to put it more simply than that. If they answer correctly, then they get bumped up a level. If they answer incorrectly, they may stay on the same level or drop down a level. And this page explains a little bit more about it. To be honest, this is the second year I've given it, so it probably knows more. You can learn more about it than I can. Also, later this week, we will be talking about the plot arc and connecting that to one of our stories and some of the meanings of these different parts of a story. I would also like for parents to remember that everything that we talk about is posted on the classroom. Almost everything, I shouldn't say everything. Almost everything we talk about is posted here on the classroom. You can see this is what students did today. It also has a little video that walks them through it. And here's the notes from Friday. We never did get to this. We'll get to this later this week. That's the emoji writing prompt. And there's my original introduction and some of this is the homework they're doing today. This is the homework they had Friday. And some of the paperwork for class. So again, the goal with the technology side is to keep everybody up to date and as in the loop as possible. Again, please contact me if you have any questions or comments, and I'll be happy to respond.